I'm being seriously. Something like that.
Okay. How about I'm being seriously. I'm here with
All
Alexis.
right, we're never
Yeah.
gonna have you do that again. That was crazy.
Okay, so my friend calls potatoes dogs, or like she calls dogs potatoes. Oh, sorry. I feel like this is a repeat of last time.
This is all loud.
Okay, my friend calls dogs potatoes or whatever. That's pretty common, right? Like to call a dog a potato. Shout out to your potato. Shout out to your little spud.
My little loaf.
Your little loaf of bread. But anyway, so since she always calls dogs potatoes, I call her a potato, and I have a theme song that's like the potato, here she is now, the potato, yeah.
I think you have a thing for potatoes ever since you went to Idaho.
Okay, top 3 potatoes that you could stick with. What would they be?
Tots for sure.
Hell yeah.
I mean, would you say hash browns are the same as tots?
No. Okay.
I love hash browns.
But what kind of hash browns are we talking about? Are we talking about like
both.
Shredded hash
Both.
browns? Are you talking about
Both.
like the hash browns from McDonald's,
Both.
like hash brown patties?
Both.
Are you talking about hash brown rounds, like the little roundy hash browns?
The tots.
See, at that point, those are tots. Okay, but if you're talking about shredded,
I was referring
hash browns,
to both. I love the shredded hash browns from like Norm's, IHOP.
Shout out Norm's.
I also love the hash browns from like McDonald's or Trader Joe's or whatever.
Okay,
the
yeah. All right. So you're gonna double up because you're getting tots and hash browns.
And then I love mashed potatoes. I love a good mashed potato from Boston Market. Shout out to Boston Market.
Wow, you do love Boston Market.
Yeah,
that's like one of the defining characteristics.
I wish
that
Boston Market would sponsor me, like how they did too. What's his name?
Wait, Boston Market sponsored? Mm-hmm. Who?
What's his name?
By the way, just for context, Alexis is eating a cookie right now. That'll be the next topic I'm gonna talk about is Bristol Farms, my favorite store. Just want to give them a shout out too. Yeah.
Okay. You need to talk because I'm eating right now.
Okay. I mean, you should have eaten the cookie before we started recording.
I know.
Is this the first time you've ever eaten during the show, or do you do this regularly? And why do you choose to eat during the program? Also, your little clip came off. That wasn't me.
You broke it?
No, it just came off.
Now you have to buy me more Bristol Farms.
Hey, you got it, dude. You got it.
I don't normally eat on, actually. It's just
you just don't eat.
It's just because it's right in front of my face, so I'm like.
So you started picking at it.
I'm picking at the cookie.
Yeah. All right.
I forgot what we were talking about.
So anyway, thank you for listening to I'm Being Seriously. My name is Johan Marino.
Are you taking over today?
No, I'm introducing myself. I'm introducing myself because I didn't get a formal introduction on this pod. So
never.
I am Johan Marino. I'm here with the host of the podcast, Alexis Chavez.
The first episode, you never got a formal intro?
I don't think I did.
We just winged it?
Yeah, no, we just went into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you never said your name?
No, I don't think I did.
That's so
funny. Like, okay, people know me. Like, we're affiliated. We're too affiliated with each other.
Do they know you?
Like, whenever
does anybody really know you?
Here's what I'm going to say.
Do you ever feel like anybody really?
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag, like a waste of space?
Do you ever feel like somebody knows you? Do you feel like people don't know you?
I don't think people truly know me.
Do you think you're misunderstood?
I know you feel that way.
Serious question. I am misunderstood.
Alexis is super misunderstood. And I want to say this to all the haters that are listening right now, because there are haters that hate.
You think so?
Yeah, there's a lot of hate listeners of this podcast. Didn't we talk about this last time on the show? I think like half the audience is people who don't like you.
You said that, I guess, but I don't assume that the people that listen to me don't like me, actually.
Okay.
I mean, we have actually. I wanted to discuss this because you brought this up a couple months back, and you
Cool.
said I wanted to talk about this, and I wish I would have talked about it on the pod. And so now I'm bringing it up. You said that there's a lot of people on Instagram that will follow, and they don't like.
They just don't talk. They don't say
Yeah,
hi.
yeah.
They don't say hi. It's like these people.
You're very
like,
frustrated with that.
I am so frustrated about this, and this is where I will be loud. Okay, because I want people to hear me.
Not too loud.
I want people to hear me though. Hear me out.
Yes.
Because everyone's experienced
Share
this.
your voice.
Thank you. You know, I just want to thank Alexis for the platform right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't have. By the way, follow me on Instagram at @morejohan.
And at Hetty Radio.
At Hetty Radio, Hetty.fm.
Hetty.fm.
Hetty.fm. We got some big things coming up. We got some big things brewing.
This is a founder, CEO, vice president.
I would be CEO if the radio station made any money. But I feel like you can't be a CEO of a company that makes $0.
I'm CEO of this podcast.
Well,
make no money.
So let me just give some context here, okay? If I could charge for my Instagram story, I would. Like a monthly subscription.
Okay.
Like, do you agree? Not you. I mean, you don't open my story. Here's another thing.
Are you saying you want to OnlyFans?
Well, okay. OnlyFans is on to something. Because people should be monetizing their content. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Because, look, I will say, sometimes the shit you put on your story is, like, really funny, and really interesting. Mm-hmm. Same thing with me. Like,
you were talking to me directly.
Yeah. I was talking to you. I'm like,
sweet.
Yeah, like, dude, like, we share funny shit, interesting shit, because we're really thoughtful about the things we share, I think. Wouldn't you say?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm posting just shit because I feel like I have
but
to.
you would be okay with getting a few bucks per month from your followers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
So $3.
$2.99. That's all I'm asking for. So today I'm pitching, my new subscription service, Johan Plus.
Okay.
Which I'm kidding. But anyway, so back to this story. Now,
I'm kidding.
I'm
As
being
if
seriously.
I thought you were serious.
Well, I'm being seriously right now.
Okay.
Back to the name of the pod.
So, yeah, going back to that, you had sent me something, I think it was like a TikTok video or something on Instagram, which is really funny that happens. But it was basically some girl going on a rant saying how Instagram is whack. All Instagram is just like high school people that follow your shit but don't like you.
Yeah.
And then she said something, I don't know what she said about TikTok. I think that's where she's at, but like, I was like, okay. And you said you really related to that post. Do you remember which post I'm talking about?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I look at my story views like from time to time. I honestly don't even care. I just use my story as a means of expression.
Right.
But I flip up the thing, and it's like people that I haven't spoken to in like 15 years, probably.
They're watching your shit.
And they're watching my shit every day, like 2 minutes after I shared it.
Weird.
And I'm like, okay, I know you're glued to your phone. That's like the number one reason. Because, some people think like, oh, they're watching my story because they're interested in what I have to say.
Because I'm so important.
Like, it's like, no, it's because literally they're always glued to your phone. And I'm sure like you just end up somewhere in that feed, right? So it's none of that. But it's like just still so uncomfortable to know that like these people that knew you when you were like a totally different person than you are today, like
they don't want anything to do with you.
They want nothing to do with you, but they still want to know what you're up to.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird.
It was a little strange that we do that.
And they just never say hi. They never like any of your shit. Like I, at least with my network of friends, I try to like engage with their stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I'm not.
I appreciate that about you. Sometimes I have people that are just leaving me out to dry. And it's like, damn. Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Why are you being an asshole?
Yeah. Although you don't open people's Instagram stories. Do you still do that?
I still do not do that. This
is legend about Alexis.
It's very rare that I will open a story. The story I look at is my boyfriend's because I need to know what the fuck he's doing.
Shout out Jesse.
But yeah, I still don't do that. I find it's more for just like I don't really need to know what people are doing. A lot of another reason is because I don't care and I feel like it's also a waste of time. Um like as it is, like everybody's stuck on their phones, right?
Yeah.
But when you're watching people that you know and you're watching their stories, then you're just like kind of wasting more time and you don't really need to. I lost those 10 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
And
So how
that
much time in your life have you saved by not watching people's
I'm
stories?
pretty sure a lot,
Yeah.
honestly, because I can get off of Instagram easy unless I'm really bored. Like sometimes I'll be at work and I'm just like, oh, it's like boring today.
Yeah.
And I'll be on Instagram and I'll just be watching memes and stuff on like the feed. But other than that, like I don't have another way to like see other things, right? Like I don't go onto stories, so I don't really like spend too much time
Yeah.
being there, so I don't get stuck on like watching things.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Not that I'm talking shit about people that do.
That's actually a good point because I feel like a lot of people always ask, like, oh, I feel like I'm on my phone too much or on social media
Yeah.
too much. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, take the Alexis approach.
It's not my approach.
It's the Alex. I call this the Alexis, dude.
Okay.
Well, I call a lot of things the Alexis. You know, it's a great brand name.
But it's actually a terrible name because
No, I love your
everyone
name,
calls it
dude.
Alexa. But
Also,
yeah,
just want to mention this. I will eventually open a sandwich shop called Big Al's Sub
not if I open it first.
because I don't know. I've always like thrown this idea around with Alexis where I'm like, dude, it would be so perfect if you had a sandwich shop called Big Al Subs.
I don't know if you came up with that or if I came up with it first, but yes, we've talked about this.
Big Al Subs now
um
open.
so yes, going back to it though, I feel like you and I are both right on this where yeah, like why not if you are watching people's stories, why not reach out to them? Why not like some of their posts, you know? It's a little
Yeah, dude.
strange.
Yeah.
Um
And if you're a guy and the person that you're following is like hot and single,
yeah.
hey, slide in the DMs.
Yeah.
You're like,
Also,
yeah.
you know, another thing to mention, a lot of people don't have interesting stories, I'm sure, right? Because a lot of
You're
people
like, I wouldn't even know. I don't open stories. I don't know if people have interesting stories.
can you agree or not agree? Like
I definitely think some people overshare.
what is your take on that?
I think people overshare.
And it's
on
not
their
that I've
stories.
never seen a story, so don't
Well,
fucking
here's the thing.
don't
I
exaggerate.
will delete stories. Like
Your
I
stories?
do shit like that.
Your stories that
yes,
you post.
because I'm like, if I get too excited and I post like 5 stories in a day, I'm like, I have to delete 2 of them because I have a limit of 3 stories per thing.
Why?
Because I don't want people to get tired of me.
Aw, dude, come on.
No, but like for reals, like I feel like I'm so fucking annoying sometimes, and like I just like keep it at 3.
You're too self-aware, maybe.
I'm so fucking
You're
self-aware. Are you kidding me? I am so self-conscious.
For me,
I am
when I post shit, dude, when I post shit and it like I know that there's like a typo or like I just fucked up on spelling or something, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna have to sit with this for 24 hours.
I delete it. I repost.
I have to sit with it for 24 hours and look at my shame.
I delete it. I repost. I feel so self-conscious about like what I put out there.
I just like sit with my shit. I'm basically like a baby in a shitty diaper. Like I'm just I'm like, this is what I put into the world and this is what I have to deal with.
Yeah.
You have to own up to some shit, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, when I was younger, I was posting like crazy. I was like, here's my life and I'm fucking crazy. I'm spiraling.
I do remember.
I would say a lot of people are very entertained. I do remember
those Alexis stories. Like when you would,
very entertaining.
Like when you would go drinking, like you'd have a night out.
Yeah.
Like, damn, dude.
Were they entertaining?
Well, I remember once we were supposed to hang out, like okay, we were supposed to hang out like on Saturday, right? And on Friday night, I go on my Instagram and I open your story, and you were just getting like plastered somewhere. I don't know. You were putting like hats on parking meters. Like you put a hat on a parking meter. Like, do you remember any of this?
No.
But you put it all in your story.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
look in my archives.
Yeah. No, this was like before that was even a feature.
This
This was
like
like
Snapchat.
no, this.
Were you on Snapchat?
I was,
I
yeah.
don't think we were friends on Snapchat.
I don't think we were. No.
Okay.
No. I also interviewed to work there once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Didn't get the job, but could say I interviewed there.
Anyway, so that's your hot take.
I didn't really feel like it was a hot take.
I feel like you had more to say. Did I interrupt you?
No.
Did you have more to say?
I mean, I think we got to jam through some of these topics.
Okay, go.
I do
lightning round.
No, I came on this podcast because I want to do a few things.
Yes, you want to talk about voter registration.
I want to clear my name. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Sorry, that did not. That flopped.
That's terrible.
You know who else flopped? Jay Leno. Ooh, I can't talk about it too much.
Yeah, though. Was that really a topic? I don't want to talk about Jay Leno.
Can you edit this out? Edit this out.
Sure.
Okay, because I might my boss is.
I actually really didn't want to edit this episode, if I'm being honest.
Okay, leave this in. I've
been very lazy to edit episodes.
I'm just not gonna.
So they're kind of just as is lately.
Yeah, and I know you're not gonna do any promo for this episode, so I'll just.
I'll do promo. I'm gonna post it on my story, and hopefully people watch it.
All right, cool.
And if they don't, it's fine.
It's fine.
If you do,
we're just two pals.
Maybe you can give me a like. Maybe you can give me a hey,
look,
what's up?
We're just two pals
How are
shooting
you?
the shit.
Haven't talked to you in 10 years.
We're just two pals shooting the shit, man.
Yeah.
So I really came on this podcast because I wanted to do a few things. First of all, I wanted to give the audience a refresher, or I want to give them an update on this parking situation that I brought up on the last time I was on the show where I vandalized a car. And I want to give an update to the audience on that. Can
you just refresh the story?
Yeah,
just, give it a quick minute just to refresh.
Yeah, so one day I was coming home from Sequoia National Park.
You don't have to be in that much detail.
And long story short, when I got to my parking spot, someone else was in the spot.
Your assigned parking spot.
In my assigned parking spot. And this was because the gate was open.
Right.
And I thought it was a customer of the Buffalo Wild Wings. So I had some leftover food in my car and I just smeared it on their window.
Yeah. And just to clarify, there's a Buffalo Wild Wings below your apartment, so that is why you got confused. And
yes, and by the
way,
for
it was
context,
a customer.
For context, we are actually inside the Buffalo Wild Wings. I live in the Buffalo Wild Wings.
So you got your leftover food and you smeared it on the car that was on your in your parking spot.
Yeah.
And then they were pissed.
Well, no. You're jumping the gun because all I said on the last episode was that the security guard, I thought I got away with it. I thought nobody would know or care about it.
Yeah.
But then the security guard actually saw the tape and didn't rat me out.
Yeah.
That was the story on the last episode.
Okay.
Now, what happened after that was I thought this was good and gone. I thought, security guard was oh, I got you, bro. I'm all right, cool.
Yeah.
One day.
What happened?
This was 2 months after this happened, right?
Okay.
This was a while ago after. I'm just having a normal day, just pulling into my spot, right? And some guy's staring at me with his 2 kids. And he's hey, is that your spot? Has anyone else ever parked there? I'm no, yeah, it's my spot. He's did you throw food on my car? Did you throw food in my car? Dude, I was shocked, right?
Yeah, he caught
I
you
didn't
off
know
guard.
what to say.
He caught you off.
I didn't know what to say. So I just started cussing him out.
What did you say? What did you say? Because now you don't have to fast forward.
I think I told him, well, don't fuck in my fucking spot. Or don't park in my fuck. They say don't fuck in my fucking spot. No. Don't park in my fucking spot. Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then we got into a fight. We got into a legit shouting match. By the way, this guy was with his 2 little kids, right? Mm-hmm. And he was oh, it's okay. It's fine that you did what you did, but you know what's not fine is you cussing in front of my little kids. And I'm like, dude, do you know where you fucking live?
Uh-huh.
So, here, I tried to run away, get into the elevator, and just go back to my
He
thing.
was following you.
He was like following me,
Okay.
right? I thought I ran away, got into the elevator, pressed the button. I was like, I'm good. He puts his hand to stop the elevator.
No.
So this guy could be in the same elevator as me with his two kids.
He doesn't even live here. Does he live here?
He lives here.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yes, this guy lives here.
Where does he live?
3rd floor.
In this building.
In this building, right now. Right now.
That's
See, that's the
fucking
twist.
crazy.
I thought it was.
Are we on the 2nd floor?
We're on the 5th floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he lives below you.
He like, hey, bitch, I got the penthouse. I'm kidding.
Okay. So
it turns out this guy that I vandalized his car, like, he was like, hey, why'd you park in my spot? Once we're in the elevator, he's like, why'd you park in my spot, man? Like, I didn't know that it wasn't my spot. I'm like, how do you not fucking know it wasn't your spot? Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Point of the story here is that it turns out this guy actually lived in my building, and he had been trying to track down who parked in that spot for like months.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm going to call the police. I'm like, well, go ahead. This is fucking Los Angeles, dude. You call them with this shit, they're going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
Like, for reals.
They're not going to come down.
No, hell no. So anyway, we just had that fight in the elevator. I probably called him the C word a few times in front of his kids, which, not super proud about that, but.
How old were his kids?
They're like tiny, like 2, probably.
Okay.
2 years, 3 years old,
Hopefully they don't remember. Both of them were 2.
They were like 3, 4, I think.
So there's one that's 2 and when there's one that's 4.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I think they're around that age, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm on this pod today.
To clear up that story?
Yeah, to say, hey, actions have consequences. That's really what I want to teach everyone today. That's the after school special moral lesson of the day.
You know, when you first told me that second story, I feel like you spiced it up a little more. It was a little more exciting. Yeah.
See, I felt when I said the story the same exact way. I was like, wait, I thought this was a more fun story.
Maybe because when you actually told it to me, it was like fresh from your memory. So you were just like in more detail.
And I had more details.
Yeah.
See, you gotta get me on the pod more frequently.
Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna forget these stories.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're getting old. We're forgetting stories.
Dude, we are getting old. It's crazy. Like, this has been one of my best friends of like 8 years.
That's crazy.
It's like crazy when we think about
almost
that.
A decade.
Yeah, dude. Decade of excellence, I say.
Friendship excellence.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
I mean, this friendship excellence needs to continue. You need to stop buying that fucking gelato ice cream that doesn't have any thickness to it.
Dude, it was pretty good. I don't know what you're talking about. Honestly.
Too icy, dude. Too icy.
Yeah, I've had like, better gelato. The flavor is there.
The flavor was great, but it felt like I was eating ice cubes.
You're exaggerating.
I'm exaggerating for the pod, obviously.
Okay, so that was the end of that. So did this security guard say anything to you, or what's up with that?
No.
Well, I feel like you told me that he was shady afterwards, right?
The guy or the security
guy?
He was shady. Like, in what?
I don't know. I feel like you told me like, I think you said, I think he like sold me out, or like I think he like told the guy something like that.
I think he might have, yeah.
I don't know. I think you told me that.
I don't know.
And I was like, nah, dude, he probably didn't. But
no, but actually, like, I take that back because I really love this guy. Like, I feed him all the time. I make him food.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I make him tri-tip tacos.
Tri-tip.
The other day, I got him like fried chicken from my favorite place.
What is tri-tip?
It's just like a cut of meat,
okay,
like a cut of beef.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, just
is tri-tip the same as tripe?
No, that's totally different.
What's tripe?
Tripe is like intestine.
Ugh.
Yeah.
The cow?
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
since we're on the topic of
what
food.
What are your talking points here?
Salsa.
Let's talk about salsa.
Because hear me out, guys. Hear me out, community, familia, like the
Fam,
raza, viva
mi
la
mi
raza,
raza.
mi raza. Just talking to my raza here. What's going on with salsa these days at like Mexican food restaurants? I feel like when we were children, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you go to any restaurant, they have like all the salsas right in front of you. You pick whatever you want,
Uh huh.
right? Nowadays, I don't know if this was like before COVID or like after COVID that this happened. Like nowadays, you kind of have to suck dick for like some salsa. I like
Suck
what?
dick.
No, no, I'm just
Ouch.
saying. I'm just saying. I'm
Crazy.
just
Are
saying.
you saying we have to go into prostitution for salsa?
I think
Little
so.
extreme.
At least at Carnitas Michoacan.
A little
Fuck that
extreme.
place.
You sucking dick for carnitas?
No comment.
So yes, there's something going on with the salsa. People are getting stingy with the
Like,
salsa.
okay, I'm gonna bring up a personal reference here.
Hmm.
Do you remember when Azteca had
Yes.
a salsa bar
Yeah.
where you could walk up,
Just squeeze the
squeeze as
salsa.
much of that great fucking green sauce that doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore, by the way, too?
Yeah, they don't have anymore.
Squeeze all the
Which is
salsa you
crazy because
want.
it's like just tomatillo, you know?
Exactly, dude. They're
Don't
selling it
don't
like it's
act
fucking gold.
don't act like it's avocado.
Like, no, of course it's fake ass like guac, right?
Yeah.
It's like a fake kind of guacy thing.
Yeah.
But it was so good on those chicken tacos.
Yeah, they're acting brand new.
But here's the thing. Nowadays, you go to a place, they're like, we'll give you one salsa per item. One little container
Yeah.
of salsa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's just not fair in life. Like, how am I supposed to eat all this food with one little thing of salsa? That's
Yeah.
insane.
It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But I think also it's just like we live just to counter a little bit. We
Oh,
live
so now you're defending big salsa. Okay,
big
go ahead.
salsa.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. Big salsa says um just to counter a little bit. We do live in a very wasteful society where people just throw shit away, right? And like people take salsa cups and they just throw them away because they don't even use salsa. You know, I think it would be fair for okay, have you been to My Taco?
Shout out my taco, dude. That was one of the first meals we ever had as friends, by the way. We had nachos from there.
They have good nachos. Yeah, they
You were
actually
just,
they
yeah,
have good everything.
yeah. I've been having a nacho moment, apparently, so.
Um, terrible name for the business, but authentic Mexican food.
And they're still around, dude. And any business that's still around in Highland Park, like, they're killing it.
Like, yeah, I know the name sounds like it's not authentic, but it is.
It's very good.
Um, so they give you a certain amount of containers, which yeah, it is kind of like limiting, but you know, you could always ask for an extra container or something. And they'll give you the container just so you can go to the salsa bar and like, you know, pour in your salsa. I feel like that's you're being more conservative, you know?
So you're saying there's a problem with the cups. Like, you can't have all the salsa cups out.
Yeah, because some people get crazy and I'm guilty of it where I get all the cups and then I start pouring like fucking cups of salsa and turns out I didn't even use all the salsa.
But look, the way I was taught from my parents,
Obviously as an adult, like a full adult, I stopped wasting so much salsa after the age of like 24. Um
that's the cutoff for salsa wasting
yeah,
is
I
age
started
24.
realizing that I was like, wait, I can like use my leftover salsa and use like dip it in chips. Like
Or, dude, like, you get your leftover salsa. Like, hey, shout out to my father, because my dad's like a really crafty kind of guy, right? He's
mhm.
just like you,
Yeah.
doesn't like to waste food.
All right.
Sometimes, like, here's a popular story that Alexis loves, is that like one day I had like a little bit of leftover meat from like a plate, like I don't know if it was Mexican food. I think it was Mexican food actually, but it was like two or three little strips of steak, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, here, Dad, like have a little bit of the steak. he makes full out like tacos with each little strip of the steak. You know, like he gets his tortilla, he, gets the little steak in there, gets his onion, his cilantro, puts a little bit of sauce. Now, I think my dad's really suffering from this salsa shrinkflation, okay? Because he loves having a little bit of extra salsa around so he can,
It's just pour in case you give him some steak.
yeah. But it's like, look, it's always nice to have a little extra salsa. And like yesterday, I go to this carnitas place. I buy like a pound of carnitas like for the week because I'm like, oh, dude, instead of me buying the tacos, I can just buy the meat because I already have tortillas, right?
Right.
And I asked the guy, oh, can I have some salsa on the side? He's like, well, we charge. I'm like, okay, how much do you charge? Dude, 6 ounces of salsa at this place, like a 6 ounce cup, is $7.50.
You have to paint the picture of what a 6 ounce cup looks like. What is that equivalent to?
Dude, what's 6 ounces? Well, okay, think of a Coke can, right? Coke
Okay.
can, like half a Coke can worth of salsa.
Okay.
$7.50.
Yeah. Crazy.
Am I the only one? What's up with that? What's up with
All
the
right, you don't
salsa
have to
price?
do Jerry
Okay, all right,
Seinfeld.
fine.
No.
Anyway, well, familia, just wanted
All right, I'm leaving.
to.
Yeah, it is crazy. Shout out Baja Fresh. Used to have a. Is there
Oh, we were
even
just talking about
is
this
there
today.
even a Baja Fresh anymore?
There are a few left. I think the nearest one is actually Hastings Ranch, Pasadena.
Okay.
And then there's one in Studio City.
Is there a salsa bar? We need someone to confirm
I think they got rid of it.
at all of them.
I don't know if at all of them, but I know some of them just started like handing the salsa to you.
You know what's frustrating? Shout out Via's Tacos, love them.
Hey.
But the salsa bar is like they give you the tiniest cups, dude. I'm like, really?
Well, okay, if you eat it for there,
You just pour it on.
you can just pour it on. But that's also a not ideal situation.
It's not. There's only like 2 tables.
No, here's the thing. With the salsa, it's literally in like a little soup bowl,
Yeah.
like just a normal soup bowl with a little spoon, like a normal
Tiny
fucking
spoon.
tiny spoon.
Yeah.
For a restaurant that fucking busy
Yeah.
to just make people get their salsa out of a fucking soup bowl?
Yeah.
Come on.
So, I mean,
Sorry, by the way, I love you, Via's Tacos.
yeah, shout out Via's Tacos, but yeah, maybe get a little
Why
bigger.
don't you get the Via's Tacos guy on the pod?
Maybe get a little bigger cups. I don't know. I've been thinking about it, but I feel like that guy's always too busy. I feel like he's all over the place. He's like doing his Grand Central Market store right now.
Yeah, but he
So
likes to really promote himself. Like he likes to really put himself out
I know
there.
I've seen him like post that he's been on like the news like so many times.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I'll reach out.
Yeah.
Would you be there?
I'll be there.
You'll be there?
Only if there's tacos involved.
I know. Maybe he'll bring us some
Ooh,
tacos.
tacos.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. His tacos be okay. I don't really eat beef, right?
No.
And last year was the first year that I ate beef like kind of
Crazy.
several times.
That's crazy.
Not even a lot. I probably like a handful of times that I ate like beef.
And then you ate like an In-N-Out burger the other day too, right?
So last year, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I totally forgot we're in 2024 now, huh?
Yeah. So
I was like, what did she mean last year? She told me like a few weeks ago.
So Via's Tacos was the first taco that I had that was carne asada in like years.
Crazy.
Years. And I don't regret it. Like
Because it was fucking good,
so
right?
good. It was so damn good. And I knew it was gonna be good, which is why I made it worth
Did
it.
you get the queso taco or did you just get normal?
It was a normal.
Oh,
And
I love the queso taco there, dude. It's so good.
it was actually an accident. So
Yeah, because I was gonna say they have like vegan and chicken options there too, which is why I think it's also a great place.
so we got there late and they ran out of chicken.
Oh.
And Jesse had ordered I was just like, it's fine. Like I just had a Azteca. I just wanted one chicken taco. Like it's fine. I just wanted to do like a twofer, you know,
Yeah.
like have Azteca and Vias because
Oh,
I'm
little
a
bang bang.
fucking
Cool.
gluttonous bitch.
But see, dude, your old order of Aztecas, can I just tell the public what your old order was?
No, but
Chicken quesadilla and 3 tacos, maybe 4, depending on the mood.
nah, it was like a chicken quesadilla with 2 tacos and 1 chicken mulita. That was my order.
So I basically got it right. Instead of just 3 tacos, it was 2 tacos and a molita.
So anyway, so Jesse orders the carne asada taco because we're gonna get his tacos and then just like one of mine or something.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting full off of the tacos he ate, and he had one more left. And he was like talking about how good they were and stuff. And then he's like, you don't want this one? And
You're like,
I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I tried it, and then I was like, fuck, this shit's so
have you
good.
ever talked on the pod as to why you don't eat red meat? Like, have you ever discussed this on here?
I don't think so.
Well, okay, let me ask you a question because
You're gonna explain it, or
no. I just
okay.
want like I think it's actually quite fascinating because
It's not that
well, it's not
fascinating.
that fascinating, but I think it's like an interesting quirk about you. So, in case you guys didn't know,
Okay.
Alexis doesn't eat red meat, so like beef or pork.
Yeah.
Just chicken, and like that's it, right?
Chicken, turkey, and fish.
Yeah. So, what's the reason? Like, why did you go? I guess pescatarian plus chicken. Is that
Yeah.
yeah?
So I stopped eating red meat when I was like 14 or something. I was vegetarian for 2 years, and then I was always getting sick because I was only eating potatoes and I was fat.
Shout out potatoes.
And so the doctor was like, you should really try to eat more protein and this and that. And I was like, fine. My next love is fried chicken. I love fried chicken, dude.
Yes.
When I gave that up for 2 years, when I was a teenager,
piece
I
of
was
your
like,
heart
what
left.
the fuck? Like, that's not even me. So, and I was like, you know what? And chickens are really ugly. I'm not trying to save chickens. There's a lot of them. Like,
Love
they're not
chickens.
as cute as a cow or a pig.
No.
So, I started eating chickens, and then I was like less sick, even though I'm still always sick. And that's the story of that.
And you look. This is what's crazy. I tried it for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
You
you
remember
did.
that?
Oh, because my ultimate goal is to have a pig and a cow. Like, I want to have a little farm. Like, eventually, maybe when I retire or
Yeah.
something.
So if you want to make this retirement happen faster, please donate on the Patreon link. I'm
So in my head,
kidding.
like, pigs are friends and like cows are my friends. So, but I will never eat like a cow. I mean a pig. I will never eat pig. But lately, I've been like, okay, let me try this cow.
Yeah, when we went to ramen earlier, I felt like you cringed a little when I said, "Oh yeah, I'll have the pork
I was like, ugh,
ramen."
gross. Why are you having pork? That's so gross.
I just
Um,
feel like ramen, you kind of have to get pork. Like that's what I
you
like from
have to
ramen.
get pork.
No, you can get chicken in it too, but it's like I don't
Yeah,
know.
no. It's like traditional for
Traditionally,
it
it's
to
like
be
pork.
like beef or pork. Yeah,
Yeah,
true. What has been on your mind lately? Any fun rants?
fun rants. Uh, I think we were talking about this earlier a little bit about like work and
Okay.
how much it sucks to work and how much we don't want to work.
We're talking about becoming a plumber,
The
an
plumbers
electrician.
and electricians because like here's the thing. Everyone like okay, back in the day, kids that were like, young would say like, "Oh, I want to be an astronaut. Oh, I want to be like a firefighter. I want to be a physicist. I want to be, whatever,
Lawyer,
a lawyer."
doctor, yeah.
Nowadays, you ask a kid what they want to do, they're like, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber or I want to be like a
Ugh.
TikToker,"
Yeah,
you know.
cringe.
And
Have you asked a kid and they said that?
I think I actually have. Yeah, and they said that.
Okay.
They're like, "Oh, I want to do like TikTok or I want to be like an esports like person,"
It's crazy. Yeah, like people have, I don't know. I feel like, the US, we've definitely always been very like more self-centered. Like, you compare it to other like countries or other parts of the world where they're a little more like it's about family, it's about like the community, and like the
Yeah.
US is just not like that.
Well, because this is a dog eat dog society, you know, like in
um,
every way, shape, and form.
but like you think about it, I feel like when we were kids, like, yeah, everyone wanted to say, like, I want to help people. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to be, somebody that helps people. And now it's not like that. People want to be like, it's all about me. I want to show people what I'm about. I want to show people what I'm worth. And like, it's like all about like,
Interesting.
look at me,
Yeah.
look at my life, look how funny I am, look how rich I am. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. I don't know what to call that, but
I know what you mean. And I always get bothered when people self-congratulate themselves. Do you notice like a lot of people
really,
self-congratulate
that's an
themselves?
interesting rant
Like
to go on.
okay,
Go.
like I have a
You're on the clock. Just kidding.
the rant, dude. If there was a sport called rant Olympics, we would
The
win.
rant clock.
Yeah, but okay. So I don't want to like say names, but let's just say this is a
Names?
person I know,
Call
right?
them out. No, I'm just
I'm not.
kidding.
I'm gonna dox them on the pod. So this guy was like, "Oh, I did so great.
Mhm.
I'm so good at this," or like, "Oh,
I
I'm
deserve this.
I'm such a good whatever,"
Mhm.
right? Or, "Oh, I killed it. I'm so good." And I'm like, there's just a part of me that even if I'm like successful or good at something, I'll
Mhm.
never acknowledge it
Why?
because like I think that I like to be a little more humble. I think because it's like
Oh.
sometimes you're successful because of luck. Sometimes you're successful because other people didn't prepare.
Do
Sometimes
you think you have imposter syndrome?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, carry on with your rant.
No. So anyway, I'm just like, okay, like, why are you like? You should try to get praise from other people and not praise yourself. You know? I don't know.
Weird. You think it's all about perspective, right?
Am I like shitty for thinking that? Like for not liking people that like self congratulate themselves in that
I think
way?
some people can overdo it. I think you're right on that. Where it's
Yeah.
like, all right, nobody need to know that.
It's like, hey, we're all just trying out here. We're all
Yeah.
just trying.
But also like, yeah, if you're looking at it from like the outside perspective and like maybe you don't talk to this person or something, you don't know the situation. Um yeah, I guess you could see it as like, can you just stop like telling everybody and just be happy for yourself, you know? Um
Yeah, just put your head down and work. I think that's the only.
yeah. You're very Kim Kardashian for that. What does she say? She says get the fuck up and work or something. She says
Dude, you would call me Chris Jenner back in the
she
day.
said something like that.
I was Chris Jenner.
No, Kim Kardashian said something recently or like a year or two ago where she said like, "Oh, people don't want to work. People need to get off their ass. They get off their
Oh
ass and
yeah,
work."
she did say that.
And everyone was mad at her for saying that. That's what you're doing. You just put your head down and fucking work,
Yeah,
bitch.
I have a question for you. Actually, I want you to go on a rant about something.
All right, you gotta
Uh,
set me off
the
the
state of media. So the
media.
state of like media journalism. We've like had a brief conversation about this, before, but like a few months ago, KCRW laid off some people. Like LA Times laid off like 100 people, and like as people from LA area, right? Like we see these things and we're like, oh shit, like is this the end of radio? Is this the end of journalism? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about like the media landscape right now?
Interesting question. You know what? I feel like right now everyone's kind of in limbo because I feel like we're starting to get into like a transition period of like, yeah, maybe radio might die out or maybe it just might change in a different form.
Yeah.
Um, and like as far as like journalism, like yeah, like what does that look like? How are we gonna get our news? Like who's like really what are the sources for all the news that we get now? Because we just can Google something and then whatever we want to come up will come up, right?
Yeah.
If
We kind of choose what we want to
we want to see
see. Yeah.
or what we want to know.
What we want to hear.
And that's not really how we should be getting our news. And I don't know, I guess there's not really any facts to a lot of things, right? Like You think about it.
Well, there are facts, but they're like, what
No,
facts? No, but it's like, what facts do we believe? You
exactly.
know?
So then those aren't really facts because facts are truth, right?
Yeah.
So like 1 + 1 = 2,
Yeah.
and that is a fact. Like
Hmm.
there's no denying that. But for example, like, you know, at some point it was a fact that the world was flat.
Well, hey, some people.
But it's not, right? Because if that were, then yeah, like you can't have an opinion on 1 + 1 and have it not equal to, like, nobody can disagree from that,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
nobody. Some people can disagree about the world because, or the earth, because they haven't been on it.
Yeah.
So in their
Yeah.
opinion, they don't think that's a fact.
Right.
So there's only like so many truths to the world. And there's a lot of things that we've discovered and we said that this is true and then ends up not being true.
Well, I think the other thing that you're
So
absolutely
I
right
don't
about that.
agree when you say like, certain facts or whatever, like not everything is really a fact. It's just a bunch of research and then things change socially throughout time and then that changes too. And then we need to do more research.
Yeah. I mean, I think like what I'm kind of referencing or what I'm kind of thinking of is the fact that like, and you kind of touched on it, there's no like objective, like people don't want objective news anymore. It's
Right.
it's like it's out there, but people don't want to read it.
Right.
And even these like somewhat objective news sources, like people roast as being biased, you
Right.
know?
Right.
And I think like we've kind of gotten into a landscape too where there's a lot of social media, independent media, like people sending out newsletters. And like back in the day, like historically, it would just be newspapers, TV stations, and
Radio.
and there was editors, there'd be staff of people fact checking things. But obviously, like when the internet came in and it was more expensive to like hire fact checkers, most of the newspapers that hired them or TV stations, they just fucking kicked them out, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it's just really hard right now to be in the media industry because you're being disrupted by so many different sources and like
I also think that our like news media and all that is just like so diluted. Everyone thinks they can do it. And then it's
yeah.
also like, I mean, for example, like, you could even say me and you, right? We think we can do a podcast and a radio station and like here we are. And we are doing it,
Yeah.
but it's also diluting because there's so many other people that also think they can do this. And it's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
a good
crazy
point.
because
Yeah.
then that also, although maybe they don't feel it or think it, but as a whole, all the individual people that think they can do this, they're diluting it in comparison to like a radio station like KCRW, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then it's like their listeners are always going to be going down because the more independent people become and thinking they can do it, all overall radio station listeners are going to be going down.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. I think there's certain people that look at what I've like done with my radio station,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they certain people at certain outlets uh do feel diluted by like things that I do,
Mm-hmm.
like they look at what I do and I don't think they take it as seriously, I think, because it's not like a big radio station or a big like, at least right now, right? It's not
Right.
huge, but I think they kind of look at that and they're like, yeah, but how could he know anything about radio or what we actually do? Because it's a lot
Mm.
harder,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know, like I do feel like what we're both doing, even though it's not like Joe Rogan, like your podcast isn't Joe Rogan. There isn't a producer here. We don't have like camera set up right now,
We
but
don't have a fact checker.
no, but it's still hard work.
Yeah, it
And
is.
people still love it and still enjoy it. And I think that's the biggest threat to media is people that are passionate about what they
Yeah,
do.
I
And like,
agree.
especially with more niche topics, niche areas, it's like that's going to be the disruptor to media is like people like you and me. Literally, we are the ones disrupting media right now.
Yeah,
Like, because
I
someone's
agree.
choosing to listen to you instead of listening to KCRW or listening to NPR or whatever it is.
We have to stop saying KCRW.
We're not
I
calling
wonder why
anyone out.
we're saying
We're not calling.
KCRW.
Well, look, we met through there, so it's a common reference point. But anyway, like, I guess what I was saying is like we are kind of the disruptors, and I think that is kind of the problem in media.
But also, I don't know, like, it's not like yes, we are disruptors in some form, but we're also not trying to say we know these things. Like we're just doing what we want to do. And
Yeah, I will agree with you on that.
you know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
sometimes it's better to not know how things are like
Because I want to
traditionally done.
admit that I don't know shit, you know? I feel like I don't know shit and I'm just going to go by that and just like do what I want to do and try to keep it real,
Yeah,
you know?
and you've done a great job at it.
I think you look more dumb when you act like you know shit and then you don't,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Um so I'm just going to be
But
grounded
here's the other thing,
and
okay?
say I don't know
So
shit.
there's a lot of people that get into podcasting and they come in with it and they're like, "Oh, I need all this equipment. I need a studio. I need a producer. I need, blah blah blah," right?
Mm,
Cuz they think like, "Oh, I need this in order to be able to do a podcast. Like it has to be big so that way people think it's big and they listen."
yeah,
But at
which
the end of
works
the
for
day,
some
and
people.
it works for some people, but for others, like it's just better to keep it real. It's better to do like what you're doing, right? Because it's more authentic and like people connect with that more than like fake shit that's put in a nice package, you know?
Sometimes, yeah, I would agree. And I would hope that the people that are listening or like listening do enjoy the fact that I'm just like trying to be consistent and keep it real. So I don't know where media is gonna go, but I don't it's already collapsing, right? Like,
Yeah, journalism for sure. Like
yeah, and it sucks for journalists because
there's just no business model there. It's just a really bad business model.
it just sucks because like journalists are actually some form of they're like a researcher, you know?
Yeah, I mean just for reference for the audience, like I have a degree in fucking journalism.
Yeah.
Like for reals. Like I have that as a degree. And when we went through J school, like there's a big process. Like journalists are kind of society's uh disruptors in a way because
Yeah.
they're the ones finding people that are doing like think of what's his name, Harvey Weinstein, right?
Hmm.
That was the cause of journalism. Like all these Me Too people that have been like exposed, that's all been through like journalism.
Because somebody cared enough to
Because
like look
yeah,
into and ask questions and do like qualitative research and like try to get good information and sources
yeah,
and
and not everyone knows, especially people that are getting into podcasting or independent media or whatever.
right.
They don't necessarily know the work that it takes to like do it properly,
Hmm.
and so they kind of like put these accusations out there without even doing any work, and that's kind of like shitty too.
Yeah, and it's shitty that a lot of things now are just like clickbait, right?
That's the other thing that sucks about like journalism is that everything's driven by people clicking on, like you're saying,
Yeah.
clickbait, and like stories picking up certain topics not because they think it's important but because they know it'll get views.
Right.
And back in the day, like if you think about the 90s when there wasn't the internet, you had an editor in a newspaper deciding what stories should be on the newspaper, and you couldn't decide to click on it because it wasn't even an option,
Right.
so I think that society has definitely changed, right? And it's become more chaotic, but at the same time
Overwhelming.
it's also refreshing that we have choices,
It
you
is.
know?
I would say there's like, yeah, pros and cons to both of it.
Right.
We definitely have more access to things that are, if we care enough, we have more access to know what's going on. Like, before we didn't know what the hell was going on all over the world
Right.
or in just like even a different state, for example. Like, we didn't know unless it was like a really big story.
Right. Right.
But now we know too much almost. And, you pick your cause now. What do you care about the most?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But yeah, like I think it's also cool that we're both just doing our things and like, not having to deal with these people kind of stifling our creativity or stifling what it is we can even do.
Or even like limit what we think we can do, because I think that was like another thing, is that we grew up in a time where, similar to like, what is it, like the Gen X people or boomers, like where there's someone at the top telling you what you can be and what you can do,
Yeah,
even if you felt like maybe you could do more.
absolutely.
And now we don't have to work our way up to the top anymore. We can actually just
Yeah,
do our own thing on our own budget. Some people can do it faster and better because maybe they have more resources and more money. But now you can actually start like small and work your way and just like keep trying. Maybe you might not succeed. I don't know where I'm going to go with this,
yeah.
but like,
Well, here's the thing. Just kind of going back to like my radio thing and your podcast thing.
mhm,
I don't think I would ever want to work in radio,
yeah,
like as a real job, or music industry, for instance. Like,
yeah,
because I remember there was a part of our lives where like we were just really adjacent to like the music industry or radio or whatever, and I think we both wanted to work in those industries at some point, right?
yeah,
But I would much rather do it as a side thing because it's a lot more fun, to be able to kind of do your own thing and not
yeah, I
have to worry
agree.
about like
I
it
would,
being your job.
I like to do it on my own terms because I felt like I could have gotten in there,
Absolutely.
but there was a lot of like things that were holding me back, and one of them was like finances. Like, how was I going to be able to sustain myself? Because when you start
Yeah.
off in those jobs, you're not getting paid shit, and that could be
No,
for years.
that's absolutely the thing.
And it's like, I'm not about to do that. Like, and then not only that, but you have to kiss ass for like fucking years and just like
Yeah.
be like not even yourself or keep it real. And I don't want to do that.
I know so
Then you
many
lose sight
people.
of who you
Yeah.
are.
I know so many people that work in the entertainment industry work for like pennies on the dollar, like in LA, 45, 50K, which is like not really anything.
Hmm.
And the whole job is just ass kissing,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, you ask them, like, why are you doing it? Well, I want to,
It's going to pay
it's
off.
going to pay off because I want to be a producer. I want to write whatever. And I'm like, well, if you're a writer, why don't you just write something?
Yeah. Like,
Like,
why are you
stop
waiting
thinking.
for someone to tell you that you're worthy enough to do that?
Exactly. Like, stop trying to like climb up corporate ladders. At the end of the day, all you can really do is like look out for yourself. If you want to be something or if you want to do something, just start doing it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about? Are we allowed to talk more?
About what?
I want to talk about
Oh,
comedians.
yeah. Go for it.
I think this is actually a good question that I've been meaning to ask you.
Okay.
And maybe you don't know as much as I like, think you might, maybe, but
About what? Comedians?
like, how people are really turning right now on Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer and like all the
No, I don't.
comedians that Joe Rogan brought up,
No, why?
because like people are criticizing, for instance, Tom, his whole thing is that he like hates his fans now. Well, he doesn't really hate his fans, but he like calls his fans like pores, and
Pores?
yeah, and like he started ranting at some like American Airlines like gate agent because she made him check his bag like at the gate, and he was like being really pissy about it, and he called her like all this shit on Twitter and started fighting with
What?
like
What did he call her?
I think he might have called her the C word
What the fuck?
or like something along those lines, right?
He's like
But
lashing out.
yeah, he was lashing out on Twitter, and then like some of his fans started like criticizing him because basically like on his podcast he mentions a lot about how he has money, how he does like cool shit, and a lot of fans are turning on the podcast because they're like, dude, this podcast isn't even funny anymore because a lot of what they talk about is like him being rich,
Mhm. Which
and
isn't relatable to most of his
which isn't
fans.
relatable to most of his fans.
Yeah.
And so I think like Bert Kreischer is kind of doing the same. Well, not to the same extent because he's still like, I guess,
More down to
more
earth.
down to earth than Tom. But when Tom and Christina moved to like Texas, for instance, they became like ultra wealthy because they didn't have to pay like as much taxes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, just wanted to know your thoughts on the state of comedy right now.
Like a crazy ass question.
Really long build up for a question that had nothing to do with that.
The state of comedy. I think that's an interesting topic because I'm just like an observer, just like you.
Yeah, but also
And
in a way, we both like to be funny. We both like have thought about doing stand up,
yeah. Well,
and
you've done stand up
yeah, oh, well, one open mic.
and I've
You
done
you same.
some open mics. Um
Like think about the Netflix festival. Like the Netflix is a joke thing
oh yeah, I did want to go on a rant about that
where
because I'm
okay,
like, what the fuck is going on? This is such a stupid idea. I hate it.
yeah, but also it's like you have all these comedy events. Everyone wants to be a comedian now. There's comedians performing at the Hollywood Bowl.
I
Like
guess you could say like comedy, yes, is being a little more diluted too. I think everyone thinks that they can do what they want to do, which you can.
everyone
You
wants
just
to
might
be a comedian.
you just might not be that good at it, you know? But
Yeah.
that's also subjective. Same thing with podcasting. Like, everyone thinks they can be a podcaster and maybe you're not that good at it, like me, but I'm gonna get
You're
better.
so good at it.
I'm
What are
gonna
you
get
talking
better.
about? No.
Um,
Everyone listening thinks you're so good at it.
I think
Except
I
the people that are listening because they hate you.
imagine someone's listening and they're like, I fucking hate her, but she's so good at this. Um,
If that's you, please message I'm being seriously on Instagram.
yeah, Johan will reach out to you
Yeah.
and give you some fan merch. I should get some merch. That'd be funny.
Dude, I do. Yeah. But it has to be like fun merch,
You
like
should also get some merch too.
heady merch.
Yeah, or like some stickers or
Yeah, I
something.
mean that's a big thing. 'Cause I've tried to contract like 10 graphic designers and none of them have come through. So,
Oh, okay.
any graphic designers out there want to make $500? Let me know.
Hey, shout out.
Hey,
Job
500
opportunity.
bucks.
You want a gig? You want a gig? Yeah. I
Listen to the pod. You get a gig.
you get $500 if you listen to this pod. I think yes. Like, okay, for example, podcasting, I think you started it, and if you have the consistency and the will to like learn more and keep like building, I think you can get good at it, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of ways to be a podcaster and to eventually be good at it.
Yeah.
Comedy is not like that. You have to have a lot of like comedy is so complicated. It's really complex in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't just like go to school and learn how to be funny.
No.
You can't actually really learn how to be funny.
No, because comedy.
You can learn how to do stand up, which is like presenting jokes and like writing jokes and doing them like in a formula, the way that people think, like Jerry Seinfeld or something. But it doesn't mean that like you're actually funny, and it doesn't mean that your jokes always going to be funny.
Yeah.
It is a lot of creativity, a lot of experience, a lot of like awareness.
Yeah.
I think,
I think that's the number one thing of
right?
comedy
Just like being
is
aware.
you have to be aware. But I also think comedy comes from a point of pain.
Yeah.
Like you have to go through some pain in order to be funny.
I think some of the best comics go that route where they share their experience and their struggle.
Well, not necessarily that even like.
But I think there are some comics that are actually pretty funny and they don't really have a lot of struggle to share, or like you can't tell that like they've actually struggled. So I think the main component would be like awareness, because you have to be aware of your timing, you have to be aware of your crowd, you have to be aware of like and creative.
Well, I guess like to elaborate on what I said earlier about the pain part, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the number one thing that a comedian has to do to be like a successful comedian
Mm-hmm.
is connect with their audience.
Yeah.
And that audience is usually going through all sorts of pain, right? Whether that's the dating world, whether that's like financial pain, whether that's like pain in their everyday lives. And I think like that's why you see some of these people that try comedy who like are rich or who already kind of have like an established career.
Like your favorite Steve-O?
Like it's Steve-O. Steve-O's not funny. Steve-O's not a comedian. He
Mm.
goes on stage and he shows like clips of
His
him.
dick.
Yeah, and it's like because he didn't have to go through the pain of being a comedian, not just like building yourself up through the comedy scene.
Who are some of the top people that are doing stand up or have done stand up that you cringe at? Like who comes to mind?
Matt Rife.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, he's like a hot comedian right now. He's not. I don't think he's that funny.
He's not funny.
Yeah.
Who else?
Top comedians that I like. I don't think
Not
are fun.
top comedians. I'm just saying like people that come to mind that are trying stand up right now or who have tried stand
Brendan
up
Schaub. Do you know about him?
and people that tried stand up and didn't really have to work too much for it.
Well, Brendan Schaub is an example, right? Like you
Yeah.
know about him,
Yeah.
right? And like he kind of came up through the Rogan sphere, and like
Right.
Joe Rogan kind of propped him up, even though like he wasn't very funny.
Mhm.
And I think that's like the problem that some people have right now with like Joe Rogan is that, and not just like fans, but it's also like other comics that are kind of criticizing him for like propping up these comics that are not even really that funny.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing right now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot. I'm trying to think of which comedian criticized him. Anyway, I'll come back to
There's a
that.
comedian that criticized Joe
Yeah,
Rogan.
for
Oh.
like bringing up these comics that aren't even really that funny.
Mm.
You know, which like I don't necessarily agree. I do think like Tom's funny. I don't know about Bert actually. You like Bert?
I've seen Bert Kreischer's more recent special, maybe like a year ago or something.
Oh, it was Cat Williams. Cat Williams was the one who was like
Oh,
criticizing Joe Rogan, like
I
during
love
that
Cat
Cat Williams
Williams.
interview.
I think Bert Kreischer's funny. I think he relies a lot on what do you call that type of humor where it's like people fart or something or it's like gross and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, like crude humor.
I think he relies too much on that stuff where it's like easy and it's not really like thoughtful or
Yeah,
creative and it's just like kind of sometimes at some point it can just be cringe
yeah,
because you're like not even trying. I think he relies a lot on that, like the whole shirt thing. And it's like, come on, man,
yeah. I know Tom
put on a
Segura
fucking
has
shirt.
been Tom Segura has been accused of using ghostwriters
Oh,
for
okay,
his jokes.
really?
Yeah,
Hmm,
yeah. So
interesting.
it's kind of interesting what's happening in comedy right now because I think definitely there are more people nowadays, I think, going to comedy shows. Like I don't remember a period of our lives where like comedy was kind of this mainstream thing where there's like comedy shows at the Hollywood Bowl. Like
Mm.
unless it was Dave Chappelle, like I don't know who else would be doing comedy at the Hollywood Bowl. But now it's like, oh, John Mulaney's doing a show there. Trevor Noah,
What do you think about Trevor Noah?
I like him.
What do you like about him?
I just like his personality. Like I just like
You
him as
think
a
he's a good comedian?
you know I think he's a good host.
I think he's a good host too.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a good comedian. I think he's a very safe person to be like, yeah, that's the host tonight, and there's not going to be any problems. You know, very safe
Yeah.
and boring,
Yeah.
which is not good for a comedian.
Yeah, just like Joe Coy, you know.
Are you trying to go get me on a rant?
No, no, because you already talked about this on another pod, so I'm not gonna. That was just a little inside joke.
Yeah, you're trying to trigger me. I like Joe Coy a lot, and I don't think he deserved the like backlash that like
It was
everybody gave
so,
him.
you
It
know,
was so
okay,
unnecessary.
really ridiculous that
I've
the
been watching Joe Coy
Swifties.
since I was like I was before I was even 20. Like
Yeah,
you know, I he's worked his ass off and he's worked
because
a
you love
long time.
Chelsea Handler, you love Chelsea
And
lately, so he was
I
always on
loved
Chelsea
Chelsea
lately.
Handler because she brought up a lot of comedians. She brought up like she not that these people didn't work, but like she helped them give them a platform on TV.
Absolutely, yeah,
You
like
know?
Whitney too.
Like Whitney, Natasha, Bobby,
Yeah,
like Lonnie, like Joe, like all of them. A lot of the people that you see on actual TV now, like,
yeah,
have been on Chelsea lately, and were on Chelsea lately, just like throwing their jokes out.
yeah.
And I think that's really cool of her. Um, but anyway,
And
what were you
now
saying?
Chelsea's living in her nice mansion somewhere in
She's
LA.
always been living her nice, like she's always been fucking balling. Um, but yeah, I don't think that like Joe Coy deserved all that. I think a lot of people don't know who he is, so it's easy to just attack him, you
Well,
know?
I think the big problem here were the Swifties, right? Because they're like, I know this girl who was like, who's a big Swiftie,
Yeah.
and like she reposted something, and she's like, "Well, who the fuck is Joe Coy?" And I'm like, you have to be living under a fucking rock if you don't know who he is.
Yeah.
It's like,
You'd be surprised. A lot of people are actually not comedy nerds. Like, and I don't even consider myself a comedy nerd, but I do know like a lot of comedy to some point. And when I try to talk about comedians or comedy to certain people or just people, a lot of people don't know who like comedians are. Like it's still like kind of underrated.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I would think it's the opposite. Like I would think
A lot
like
of people know more about comedy.
I think like comedy has kind of come into the mainstream like pop culture. I think that's the point I was trying to make.
I think it is. I think there's probably it's gonna get worse, but like for now, I think like it's still kind of underrated to some extent.
Do you
Unless
think?
you're what's his name, Kevin Hart, or like if you're Dave Chappelle, unless you're like that type of comedy,
Yeah,
which I don't know. I don't think Joe Coy is that far from it either. Like
yeah.
I think he's pretty popular, so it's kind of like
That's what I was saying. It's like all these people saying, "Oh, who's Joe Coy?" It's like, dude, this guy's selling out Madison Square Garden five
yeah,
nights.
like people love him.
It's like I think I'll say this though. I don't think Joe Coy is like the high
No,
brow like comedy kind of person, which is why he got absolutely killed
yeah,
with the Golden Globes
yeah.
because Joe
God
Coy's
damn.
Joe Coy's audience is more like people, like
Joe Coy's audience is definitely
Filipinos,
more like working
Latinos.
class people,
Yeah,
middle class
absolutely.
people. It's definitely not like rich people, and he keeps it real. Like 100% of like his specials, like it's like just him keeping it real, like how
Yeah.
hard he's worked to get here, and like some of it's a little cringe, but like I know he's worked hard, and like he always says that in every special, and like yeah, his audience, his fan base is definitely not that. They're definitely not the people that are going to be at the Golden Globes. They're not going to be the people
Exactly.
that
And
are
that's
like
why I thought
being
it's
able to afford to even go to any of those
yeah,
award
and that's
shows.
why I'm like, okay, all these people kind of try to act like they're so, I don't know, highbrow, and they're like, hey, well, who is this? It's like, dude, that's actually like a real comedian that appeals to like real people,
Yeah.
and that's what
And
I
but
think
it's
is
like
important with
you can
comedy.
also ask that question, who are you to even like be able to determine if this person's funny or not? Like who are you to be able to you don't know that anything about this person. I said this on a comment too.
Yeah,
Like all these people are like shitting on him and have no idea like who he is or have never even seen one of his specials or have seen like his come up or even heard like his stories of what he shares, and all of a sudden people are judging his character when they don't even know
yeah,
who the fuck he
and it's
is.
based on like a series of like just bad jokes, like,
Yeah.
and not even jokes that he wanted to put out there because he only had like 6 days to prepare, right?
Yeah, and it's also just like, yeah, he doesn't write all those jokes. Like
Right.
people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Um so I was
I
just
think he really regrets doing that. But at the end of the day, it's
probably.
not gonna see. Here's the thing: it's not gonna hurt him one bit
Yeah,
because that's not his audience
his
anyway.
real fans know who he is. Like,
Yeah,
his real fans know his story. His real fans know his character.
yeah.
So
It's like
it's
the same way we feel about Felipe, and like the same way we
shout
feel
out
about
Felipe Esparza.
yeah. Come on the pod, come on the pod, Felipe. Or like even Fluffy, like I love Fluffy, and I
Yeah,
know like part of the reason why I love him is because like even though he's like rich as fuck now, like he keeps it real still to a
yeah,
certain extent.
yeah. I saw a clip at that Golden Globes. I don't watch the Golden Globes. I don't have. I
I
don't
wouldn't
have.
expect you to watch award shows.
I don't have access to watching award shows, and I don't think I also want to.
Yeah,
And I think we have it on our phones enough to see what
yeah,
happened
you
anyway.
see all the clips.
I saw a clip of Fluffy and George Lopez presenting or something, and they're just making like quick jokes, and they're pointing out some of like the actors out there, but like joking. They're like, oh, they're not as good as Jason Segel. They're not as good as like another one. And every person that they called out, when the camera looked at them, they were just like fucking dead in the face.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm just like, do you know who these two are? Like, why isn't anybody smiling? Can't like any of these actors like do a smile or laugh or something? Like, what is up with this room that you feel like you have to be disrespectful or be like on your high horse about like a quick joke that's not even really like bringing you down? It's actually uplifting you and making you look good. Like,
So if you notice during the Golden Globes monologue with Joe Coy, he did a joke about Robert De Niro,
mm-hmm,
about like how he like married someone super young,
mm-hmm.
and he laughed. He was like enjoying it.
Yeah,
Then you pan to like the Taylor Swift where he makes a Taylor Swift joke. She's like all offended,
yeah,
and I think it's just the difference in generation where like
the
old the
sensitivity.
sensitivity, dude. Like celebrities, especially, what I've heard is like they don't want any sort of anything close to like being negative, anything,
Yeah.
it's like they're really picky about how they're seen.
Yeah, Jesse was telling me that The Rock, like he has something in his contract where he can never die or lose a fight, and that's like in his
Exactly.
clause because of like his ego.
Exactly.
And it just like yeah. Or I read somewhere that like Ariana Grande could never be on one side because you always need to have her on like a specific side, like her left
Yeah,
side or something. Like she will never allow you to get her other side for some
exactly.
reason. And it's like, what the fuck? That's
And that's
so
why people are so
crazy.
sensitive about like these kinds of topics, because it's like they don't want to be made fun of,
Yeah.
you know? And there, but like like if you look at old award show clips, like it's like, hey, that's just being a part of a celebrity, is like they're just gonna make jokes about you.
Yeah, you're kind
And
of like you chose to have this career and that puts yourself up on like grabs, like basically for jokes and
yeah.
punchlines and like whatever you're doing, in that current time, like if you're doing something bad or if you're doing something good, like any attention, like you're more likely to get a joke written about you, you know?
Oh yeah. It's also the same bullshit where it's like celebrities don't like to, like, they want privacy,
Yeah.
or they want to be like, I don't want this to be. It's like, dude, you are a celebrity. Like everyone's gonna recognize you. Everyone knows you. Like that's the life you chose. That's why you make all this money.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a film, is because of who you are.
And if you don't like it, you can stop doing it and
Yeah.
like
And so many actors
that's
have done
it.
it, right? And have
Yeah.
gotten out of the spotlight.
Exactly.
But it's like if you want to make the money, if
If
you
you like the attention, if that's what's driving you, because a lot of it is just attention based, like you just like get a fucking thrill for the
yeah.
attention. Like that must be a crazy high,
Yeah, dude. It's
you
just
know?
like I don't know, man. I think celebrities are sensitive nowadays. But like,
They're
okay,
people,
I do
you
want to
know?
touch on something real quick too. Is that I think the Taylor Swift phenomena right
I'm
now
over it. I'm tired
is
of fucking
like
seeing her on my feed. I don't even like Taylor Swift. And she's
it's
just on my feed and I don't even like click the shit. It's just there.
yeah. Um
It's kind of gross. I've
we
actually
have to it's because like society wants to idolize white people, dude, or like white, like
oh,
these white,
like you were saying white women are the new men or something.
yeah,
Or
white
Jesse was
women are
saying
the,
that
yeah,
or
like,
something.
dude, shout out to Jesse for saying that, because that was so spot on.
And
When
then oh, and then you texted me. You're like, I agree.
Yeah, that was like such a good observation, because yeah, white women are the new men. Like they're kind of, and that's why Taylor Swift is like an interesting topic, because it's like that's kind of the Jesus Christ of the group.
Oh, it's disgusting. I don't even want to talk about her anymore. She's so gross.
That's
She's a phenomenon though, right? Like it's just kind of like crazy. Like what the
but
fuck?
also it's like she's been a phenomenon now for like 30 years.
Like how?
Like I feel like when we were
30.
kids, she was like a thing. When Kanye like stole the award from her or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we don't have to delve into this. But yeah, she's the Jesus Christ of the white women.
That is so crazy. Yeah, that is.
Like she's dating the football star, and
Yeah,
she's selling out all the stadiums, and
she's the pop star and she's dating the quarterback, or what does he do?
yeah, he's like on the team. He's
He's
not
on
the
the team.
quarterback. He's like a linebacker or some shit like
Okay,
that. I
I
don't
just
really
want it
watch
to be like
football.
cliche, where she's like, she's a cheerleader and he's the quarterback of the
Yeah.
fucking high school team.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. That's not the kind of shit I'm into, TBH, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think there's so much other music people can explore, so many other great artists. That's what upsets me about people like giving into that fandom, which, hey, you do you. Like, if that's truly what you love, like you love Taylor Swift music, like for its artistic value,
Mm-hmm.
like you do you, but it's also at the same time, it kind of pisses me off because we both know like artists that are more talented than
Oh
her
yeah.
that don't
Or
get the
artists,
attention.
yeah, or that deserve the awards and shit. Like I straight like completely believe that SZA should have won the award for the Grammys, like record of the or album of the year.
Yeah.
Like I'm so fucking tired of hearing Taylor Swift songs just like in the store and shit. Like why? um and I just thought like creatively I think SZA just like deserved that award, but like
Exactly.
she didn't get it. So
Yeah, so that's like what upsets me about people like really giving into that because it's like that I
but it's
feel
like the people that are rating these awards are fucking white people, white women that love Taylor Swift, white men that
exactly,
like their daughters love Taylor Swift, like shit like that.
exactly.
So it's like, there you go, here she goes, wins it again. Like,
But here's the thing: it's like it's not even that I don't like her music or that I hate it, which I do, but it's like not even that. It's like it's just not
it's
interesting.
not.
It's like just
It's like a
bland,
formula, like
generic.
it's like her. It's like her face.
Yeah.
Just bland, generic, like white girl, like nothing special. She's like white rice. Like literally, just like she's so bland. She has no flavor, no season. She's just the plainest they can
Dude,
be.
just the plain
Fucking
fucking
plain
rotisserie
Jane.
chicken, dude.
No. Rotisserie chicken is way better than that. Like
Shout out Boston Market.
but
But yeah, that's what upsets me is like there's so many other great artists that people can like learn, get to know, that are redefining like art.
yeah.
Like we're truly in an era where like people are being so experimental with things and trying like so many cool artistic shit.
Yeah, like
And
Northwest.
yeah,
Have
dude.
you heard her song?
No.
It's such a catchy song.
Yeah,
She's only like 10.
but that's the future.
Yeah,
And like
she's the
I don't
future.
know, we have to like I wish people just explored a little bit more like into the art they consume or into the music or into the
It's just,
films.
yeah, it's just so easy to listen to Taylor Swift, right? Like she's everywhere. Like
Yeah.
she's so accessible. Like it's just easy. It's just like like how we consume our news, like we were just saying, like when you can when you go on like your MSN news or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like 10 things to do to save money or 10 things to look beautiful or whatever their fucking list that they always have. That's so easy to click rather than to be like, I want to learn about like something like interesting or something that's going to make me
Yeah.
smarter or something like, that's like actual like research,
Yeah.
It's harder to find that shit than it is to look at a fucking list or to look at some trash news that's just like right there in your face.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift is like that.
Yeah. It's like easier
She's just
to
like in your face. You're
yeah.
like, I guess I like this song. I've heard it 100 times. And it's like proven that when you hear things so many times, when you see things so many times, you actually start to like it.
Yeah.
You know?
But can I also say something that I've observed from
No,
this
no, I'm
Taylor
just kidding.
Swift phenomenon? Um I think Taylor Swift's popularity is a response to like the past few years where the entertainment industry has made itself more diverse,
Hmm.
it's almost like a backlash to
Are you
that.
saying Taylor Swift is like Donald Trump?
Yeah, she's the Donald Trump of entertainment.
Oh shit.
Because, like, if you
That's
think about it, the
that's
entertainment
crazy, dude.
industry over the past few years has been, pushing diversity like
Right.
in front of our faces.
Right.
And some people, specifically white people, don't like
They don't
that.
like that. They don't like that
They
change.
don't like that
They want to be
change.
on their plantation farm.
Exactly. And that's why, like, when this Eras tour happened, that's when you saw like everyone getting together to like go to these shows of this white princess, because like it's almost like a response to the entertainment industry's like trying to push all these diverse artists in front of us, and them saying, no, 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 we don't want that. We want Taylor Swift.
I saw a clip, and I feel like we should stop talking about her after this, but because I'm
It's
sick
a
of
good
it.
kind of good topic though, a little bit.
Um, I saw a clip where she announces that she's going to come out with a new album this year, and the camera goes to all the pop stars that should basically compete with her, and it's like Olivia Rodrigo, Miley Cyrus, Ed Sheeran, like those pop stars,
Yeah.
and their faces are like very just like they're trying to hide that they're probably annoyed, or they're like, great, like I'm gonna fucking lose to her next year again, like,
Yeah.
like, great, I can't come up with anything this year because I'm gonna be fucking against her next year.
Yeah, dude. And it sucks because some of those artists that you mentioned, like, I actually fuck with Olivia Rodrigo. I think what she's doing is so creatively interesting.
She's cringe, but I definitely think she's a little more like she deserves more awards than Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
I don't her lyrics are like fucking she's definitely like a pop machine.
Oh, yeah.
Like very formula, very Disney, very like, like this is how you create a pop song.
Right. But I think her core though is like the same core that we kind of have, where she listened to like a lot of like Paramore growing up, and like, a lot of like rock music, and you kind of hear that in her music a little bit.
But she takes it to like a level of like it's not Paramore, it's like pop Paramore, and like
That's true, yeah.
it's very like
It is
it's
serialized
like
for sure.
it's Disney Paramore, which is
Yeah.
like cringe. But I guess it's a little more creative than Taylor Swift's music.
For sure, for sure. Like,
So I'll give
yeah.
her that. And she's like Filipino, so whatever.
Yeah, and it's like always great to see like,
Diversity.
diversity.
I like Miley Cyrus not because of her music, but
I think she's so
I
cool.
think she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think
And
like
she's
I
humble.
think honestly like Dolly Parton makes her cool in a way too. Like
Yeah.
being the godchild of her, like I guess that's cool.
Yeah, I was actually so happy when she won the awards during
And
the
I think
Grammys.
she also does keep it more real.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be like Taylor Swift. She's not trying to be anything other than herself.
Yeah,
You know?
and I really respect that about her.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway,
They're
all
more
right.
deserving than Taylor Swift. So do your plugs.
All right, Hetty Radio, Hetty.fm at Hetty Radio. Johan Marino, that's me. My Instagram, more Johan, if you want to follow me. And I won't charge you for a subscription to my story.
Okay. And you're offering a $500 service
Yeah,
for anyone
this
who
is
can
actually a real. This is
design.
actually a real offer.
This is legit.
If anyone wants to design the logo for my radio station, and
They
I don't know if I should do a contest, because like it's
they
also
have
kind of
to
weird if I just say, "Hey, I'll give you $500. Somebody's gonna draw a shitty ass logo."
No, no, no. I was gonna say they should send you like their portfolio or like some pics of stuff that they've done, so
Yeah,
that way you can be like, okay, I'm down for that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just like you're an employer. You're
yeah.
basically an employer,
So
just
if
like
anyone is a graphic designer and thinks that they can design a pretty cool logo, like hit me up at more Johan or at Hetty Radio. You'll get $500.
there you go.
All right, bud. Thanks for having me on.
All
This is
right.
always so much fun.
Yeah. Thanks for closing out.
Thank you, dude. Bye.
Bye.